Well, hello. Thank you for joining me today as we talk about Viking's popular river cruise, Paris and the heart of Normandy. I'm Carol Shaddix with Imagine Going Air Travel, and I'm a Viking master cruise expert. This is all we do. And so we love Viking itineraries and happy to share with you all the great details about what makes Viking sailings so amazing. Today is going to be round trip Paris, and we have 6 guided tours included. And of course, sailing into Rouen, we're going to be able to have that be the launch point for the amazing experience of visiting the Normandy beaches. So I'm going to turn my screen off so you can actually see these great images. And here's an overview of this itinerary. We're going to overnight in Paris, both on the beginning and the end of our trip, but don't think you have enough time in Paris here because there's never enough time in Paris, right? I would recommend getting AirPlus so that you can customize your flights to be able to arrive as early as possible. Without AirPlus, the Viking computer will schedule your air if you have air with Viking, of course, and that's usually about 4 months prior to departure. With AirPlus, you can schedule it up to 9 months prior, and then get your schedule preferences, airline preferences, etc. And I recommend that because I like to get in as early as possible to a city and then be able to leave a little later. I don't like getting to the airport at 6 in the morning if I can help it. So AirPlus is a great way to maximize your time on this first day in particular. You'll be taken to the ship and your room will be ready yet if you arrive early, but you can have a little snack. And then from there, you can start maximizing your time in Paris, seeing this beautiful city. So here is the overview of the map, and you can see its journey down to Rouen. From there, we go to the Normandy beaches and then have a delightful sailing back up. And we'll be talking about each of the stops along the way and what you'll be seeing on this itinerary. Now, of course, there's never enough time in Paris, as I said, but your included excursion will be a panoramic tour of the city where you will be able to see the Champs-Élysées, the Arc de Triomphe, as you see here. We'll drive by the classic Paris highlights, just like the Palais Garnier Opera House, the Louvre Museum with its beautiful IMP designed pyramid that is the entrance to the museum, the Grand and Petit Palais as well, the Musée d'Orsay, Place de la Concorde, and of course the Napoleon's tomb as well. Now, on the left is the iconic Eiffel Tower, and that Eiffel Tower was actually for many years the one of the largest buildings, monuments in the world. It is about the size of our Washington Monument, even a little taller than that. But interestingly, when it was first constructed in 1889, it was the entrance to the Palace World Exposition, but it did not receive any kind of appreciation. In fact, it was considered a monstrosity that garnered a lot of protests from local artists. They actually created a act which said it was artists against the Eiffel Tower. And so for a long time, it did not receive any appreciation from the locals. But of course, now it is an iconic spot to visit. You can, of course, go up the Eiffel Tower. There's a restaurant and get some beautiful views of the city. And it's an important place to visit for sure, and a great anchor to be able to tell you where you are in relationship to where you're visiting in the city. The Arc de Triomphe was built by Napoleon, and he had this constructed to honor the Grand Army and also the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So there is a flame lit here every evening, and in your included tour, you'll be driving by that. And of course, I encourage you to do Paris at night. It's a beautiful city lit up at night. At the end of the presentation, you'll see a picture there. It's just these beautiful monuments, and it's a totally different experience to see Paris in the evening. Some optional tours that you can do are the Montmartre Hill, which is this is the Church of the Sacred Heart. This is the second highest point in Paris after the Eiffel Tower. And this is where artists and poets and writers back in the previous century would just meet and collaborate, such as Monet, Picasso, Dali, and Van Gogh. And they would find their inspiration here, and you'll have the opportunity to meet your local guide from the ship and take public transportation to the funicular, which is um, dates back to the 1900s, early 1900s, and it'll go up the hill and you'll get a chance to tour this beautiful cathedral, wander around and have some coffee and enjoy some pastries, etc., and just do some shopping and have an enjoyable experience here at the top of the Montmartre Hill. Another really popular thing to do is Flavors of Paris. And that is a tour where you will go with a local guide and she'll tell you stories of the past as you're wandering around and popping in and out of these little cafes. You might pick up some chocolate or bakery and get a fresh croissant, which are so amazing, straight from the oven. Maybe sample some fresh cheese or sausage or wine. It's a wonderful experience. Usually flavors of any of the cities that Viking does is very popular. Encourage you to book those. Now you can always, as a side note, book an excursion and then cancel it about 7 to 10 days prior to your departure and get your money back. So always encourage you to put it in your cart, go ahead and reserve that while you can, and then you can always think about it and change the schedule later should you choose to. This is the Orsay Museum, and of course some amazing impressionists are here, but this is a converted train station, which is really a work of art in and of itself. There is so much to see. You really can't do all the museums, of course, even with extended time here. So pick the ones that are your favorite. The Louvre, of course, is beautiful, as is this one, very, very popular, and get a chance to experience the heart of Paris and some of these iconic museums. Day 3, we're going to go to La Roche-Guyon and Vernon. And this is the gateway to the beautiful Giverny area where Claude Monet had his home. You'll be able to see this beautiful town of La Roche-Guyon. It's got some very narrow streets, but very picturesque houses there. It's actually considered one of France's most beautiful cities. So you'll enjoy a visit here. And then after lunch, we're going to go to the town of Giverny, where Claude Monet resided from 1883 until he died in 1926. Of course, you'll recognize these beautiful gardens. There's a charming stone farmhouse where he lived that they have restored. You'll see the water gardens and the Japanese bridge, made so famous in his paintings. And then, of course, all these amazing colors that you'll be able to visit as well. The popular, if you like something a little more active, a great short optional excursion is Monet's Gardens by bicycle. You'll be met at the ship with your local guide, and of course you'll have your bike suited to you and helmets. Everything's taken care of for you. And then there is a excursion that you'll be taking, a bicycle ride to Monet's burial site of he and his family. And you'll be able to go to the Monet Foundation, where you'll have a tour of that and learn all about his life and his works. But the colleague who actually did this tour said it was so amazing. It was very flat, easy to ride. But he said at one point the guide pulled them all over on the bank, and then out of her backpack pulled this print of one of Monet's paintings and held it up and said, "Does anybody see any familiarity here?" And he said it was so incredible because we were looking at the life version of the painting that Monet painted all those years ago. Said it was fascinating. And then what they did was cycled a little further. And then Viking had a little picnic for them where they had some croissants and chocolate and some apple cider. And it was just a lovely way to spend the morning and a real highlight. So if you like something a little more active, then I would encourage you to check out Monet's Garden by bicycle. Now we're also going to see Vernon, which is a small town that actually suffered a lot of damage during the wars of the last century, but has a lot of charm to it still. There is an 11th century parish church, which dates back. It was actually rebuilt in the 1600s, but it has the Gothic style of church. It's a wonderful little town that's got some half-timbered houses dating back to the 15th century. There's an old mill that's built on the ruins of a medieval bridge, and it just perches right over the river, which is really interesting. And then if you're there on a market day, which one of my colleagues was, he said the market was lovely, just wonderful fruits and cheeses and all kinds of fish and pastries and flowers. Said it was just really remarkable. Now, one of the things I like to do is share from past guests who are clients who have told me about how much they enjoyed certain excursions. And so this is one from Jane, and she has done many, many Viking trips. And she talks about this day saying, our day 3 was delightful at Giverny and Vernon. The included tours were wonderful. At Giverny, Monet's gardens were in their full bloom in May, just breathtaking. We learned that the Nazis were in Giverny, but they did show a little respect for the eminent Claude Monet. It could not have been a better morning. The walking tour of Vernon was very good too. Our guide was personable and knowledgeable, and the medieval buildings in town were very attractive. However, the highlight was walking past a more modern building where an old lady stood at an open window of her flat on the main floor, smiling and waving little US and Union Jack flags for us. I thought you might enjoy that personal memory from a client who enjoyed this day with Viking. Now, day 4, we're going to Rouen, and we are going to have a leisurely morning of cruising along the Seine that morning. And then the afternoon we'll spend in this medieval city, which was the capital of Normandy. And it's also known as the City of 100 Spires. And we'll do a walking tour through the old town. It's got a beautiful Gothic Notre Dame Cathedral. It was often painted by Monet. In fact, I think he had it over 30 times in his paintings. It's also the burial place of Richard the Lionheart. And of course, this is also known for Joan of Arc. And you'll be able to see the 14th century courthouse where she was sentenced to death and the market square where she was murdered. Rouen also boasts a 16th century astronomical clock, which I find those so fascinating. And so you'll have a wonderful afternoon of spending time here in Rouen. We've got some good optional excursions as well. Honfleur on foot is just a charming little fishing village. It's an old harbor that was an inspiration for painters really for centuries. And you'll still find people with their easels painting here and whiling away the afternoon and looking at the little fishing boats dotting the harbor here. But you'll enjoy this picturesque town. You can also do the Rouen country side and farm as part of an excursion. It's a rather long one, but you'll visit a Norman farm, which is renowned for some amazing cheeses. The apple orchards produce the apple cider, known as Calvados, which is the famous apple brandy. And you'll go with your guide on a scenic tour to a little French town that has an 18th century farm there. And the building is made from stone and mud and timber. And you'll see how the owners have been making their award-winning cider for more than 2 decades. You'll see a lively shepherd dog demonstration as well. And of course, any chance to really get into the countryside is like an extended part of visiting the city that you might not have access to if you didn't do an optional excursion. Now you do have this time in Rouen, so there's plenty of time here. Plan it well so you can enjoy not only the charm of Rouen itself, but some of the surrounding areas, because you'll want to get rested up that night because the next day is a busy one. It is our highlight tour of the Normandy beaches. We will have breakfast, eat a good breakfast here because this is a full day tour to those historic beaches. And we're going to drive past Gold Beach and Courcelles-sur-Mer on our way to the World War II landmark of Omaha Beach and the American Military Cemetery. So you'll have the guided tour here and we'll go on the Normandy coast and you'll be able to see the mulberries, which is in that picture on the right, which were those movable harbors that they created out of concrete, which allowed them to move a huge volume of troops into this area. We'll have lunch here and then we'll do the American Cemetery and the memorial in Colville-sur-Mer as well, which is actually, you're going to overlook Omaha Beach right from this area. This is the final resting place of almost 10,000 American servicemen and women. So it's a very moving day. You'll be able to walk among the crosses there and browse the visitor center. And you can even tour Omaha Beach, go down and walk into the water. And this was what Jane said about her visit to Normandy. We saw all the important American D-Day sites, as well as Arromanches, where our British allies constructed an artificial harbor still visible in the waves. On Omaha Beach, we walked across the sand to look toward home. I removed my shoes and stood in the lapping waves, looking out toward England. Very evocative. And of course, the cemetery at Normandy was, as expected, very moving. So we have a museum there, as you can see on the right, where you'll be able to see some memorabilia from that area as well. And then we will have our return to the ship. And what we've found is that guests are just very quiet and contemplative on their return after being in this very emotional and significant battlefield from World War II history. Our next day will be Les Andelys in France, and we have a beautiful day here along the Seine. You can see the limestone cliffs there, which are just picturesque in and of itself. But of course, this is known for an incredible fortress known as Chateau Gaillard, which will give you amazing views of the Seine River, as you can see, but also you'll get a chance to tour this chateau, this fortress, which was a stronghold built by Richard the Lionheart in 1196. He was also the Duke of Normandy. It was very strategically placed, not only for its dramatic views, but also because it was very well protected. There was only one area where you could access the Gaillard, which made it very defendable as well. So it was a very key structure that defended Normandy during the Wars of Religion, and really critical to Richard Lionheart's campaign against France. So we'll have a beautiful day here, and then our last day will be day 7 in Toulon-Pec, France. And so we can, our included tour will be the Chateau de la Maison, which is where Napoleon Bonaparte spent his final days. And this manor house was purchased by Josephine in 1799, and it served as the seat of Napoleon's French government from 1800 to 1802. And after their divorce, she collected an annual pension of 5 million francs and kept the house. And she called that home until she died in 1814. Now, Josephine was known for beautifying the residence. She had incredible taste. She was spent money freely to keep things in top shape, and she loved rare and unique plants. They had beautiful gardens around the chateau, as well as exotic animals. She had kangaroos and black swans and zebras and monkeys and ostriches. So she had fine tastes and definitely was a force to be reckoned with at this time. And they say that the emperor returned after his defeat of Waterloo here, and that's where he received news of his exile to the island of St. Helena. So that's your included tour. But of course, if you want to see the Palace of Versailles, then you have that as an option as well. And this was added on to, it started as a hunting lodge, but it was added on to by 3 kings, most famously Louis XIV, the Sun King. And you'll be able to see the state apartments of the king and the beautiful painted ceiling and the famous Hall of Mirrors where the Treaty of Versailles was signed, ending World War I. Your guide will tell you about court life in the 18th century, and you'll be able to see the Queen's apartments as well as Marie Antoinette's bedchambers. So a very full day. It's very large footprint of a property. You cannot see it all, but certainly getting a chance to do so is a must when you are in France. And then we'll be heading back to the ship, and this will be your last evening unless you're extending your stay. Encourage you to see the Louvre. We went at night and it was not as crowded, as well as everything in Paris at night is just lovely. You can do a Paris by night cruise along the Seine, where you'll get to see all these amazing monuments lit up in such beauty. So I encourage you to do that, or the motor coach tour as well. And then if you can, like I say, I just encourage you to extend your stay. There is so much to do in Paris, and just having the chance to actually wander around and get lost, pop into different cathedrals or cafes or shops. Of course, the shopping in Paris is legendary, and you want to have enough time to be able to do that. Optional extensions are Oxford and Highclere Castle, not available every time. So we'll have to check to see if it's available on the dates of sailing that you're interested in. But you'll be able to explore England's countryside. Blenheim Palace is where Winston Churchill was born. And of course, Highclere Castle is the real Downton Abbey, and our exclusive partnership with Lord and Lady Carnarvon is what allows us to have access there. And it's just a very, very special experience. Now, for your extension for the Loire Valley, I would encourage you to do that as well, because this is just a spectacular area. It's a beautiful part of France that's just has many castles and beautiful countryside. French kings and courts were in this area, so you'll be able to see a lot of these spectacular chateaus and learn a lot about the southern part of France, which is not accessible as much by river. Of course, it's a little further south. But our commentator and past traveler Jane said about her extension, our extension, Chartres was my favorite, as I had visited the cathedral in 1974, just after graduating from college. Our college art professor was leading our group, and he taught us much about the cathedral in art history class. Visiting the cathedral in 2019, I recalled following him up the stone steps and out on the cathedral roof, where he taught us about the flying buttresses. The stained glass is the most beautiful of all. Our professor told us that Chartres blue has never been duplicated. On the 2019 trip, we did not climb onto the roof, but found something new, an intricate prayer labyrinth just inside the front doors. That day was a wonderful combination of renewing old memories and discovering something new in the Chartres Cathedral. So encourage you to spend that time extra, either pre or post, with Viking. I love that it helps you get over that jet lag. You're familiarized with ports of call, being able to spend some time and relax in towns maybe you wouldn't visit on your own, or just to have extended time to really explore to your heart's desire. You're in Viking's care the whole way. If you purchase your extension with Viking, then your transfers are included. You'll have your daily breakfast, your hotel stay, of course, and then services of a Viking host while at your hotel. So it's a complete package that really allows you to relax and enjoy exploring, rather than dealing with the details of negotiating transfers, etc. I love it that our clients get to know other passengers as well, and many times they'll come back and travel with them later. So that's an extra benefit. Now, if you want to do the full France experience, you can do, it's called France's Finest, and it's Paris in the heart of Normandy, and that's actually combined with our southern France, Lyon and Provence. I recommend going from Avignon to Paris, kind of end with a bang that way. I've done the Lyon and Provence tour in the summer, where I got to see the lavender fields, which is beautiful. I would recommend that. Of course, many great times to travel in France. And of course, you're always going to have wonderful food as well. But this is the Lyon and Provence. It's a little bit of a slower cruise time, but we do go into the Beaujolais wine region, and so many great extensions here. Excursions that you'll be able to enjoy if you want to do an extended trip into Paris. Now, why would you use Imagine Going There Travel? Well, we are specialists. Viking is all we do, and you're never going to pay more for your trip. Plus, you'll have our whole team watching over your vacation, and you don't have to call in directly to Viking and get a different person every time. We're here to help you, and we're able to answer those questions for you and take care of everything from start to finish. We do have specials that are available because we have those codes, and if you call into Viking and don't know how to add those extra bonuses to your sailing, you won't be able to do that, because it does take specific requests and often specific codes to do so. So we know those, so we can really enhance that for you. All of our bookings receive 200 in shipboard credit, 100 per person. And our new guests are going to get their referral credit, 100 per person. And those that refer also get 100 per person as a thank you as well. Even if you've booked in the last 60 days direct with Viking, then just give us a call. We can still add those extra bonuses for you. And now I'm going to do a quick tour of the Viking longships. This Seine class is new for the France rivers, and it's a little bit smaller. So it looks exactly like the Viking longships, except instead of 190 staterooms, it's 168. But you'll see lovely staterooms and, of course, everything that you love about river cruising, which is your hotel floats with you. It's such a great alternative to those land tours where you don't have to worry about packing and unpacking. Every river offers ever-changing scenery. And because we're able to dock right there in the heart of the city, it allows you time to really explore. Come back and forth to the ship if you choose, have lunch, then go back out and go shopping again. And it's a wonderful home base to be able to explore the cities that you're visiting. With Viking, we have all this included, a shore excursion every port of call, your onboard meals, you've got multiple dining venues, your wine, beer, and soft drinks are included with your meals. You have free Wi-Fi and specialty teas and coffee available 24/7. I love not having to pay for bottled water when I leave for an excursion. I usually get 2 bottles because I drink a lot. And of course, it's nice not to have to pick up one while you're out, and you're able to keep exploring. They're first-class hotels for your pre and post options, and all port charges and fees are included. So it really allows you to not be nickel and dimed along your journey. I like to say pretty much all you're going to pay for is your gratuities, a beverage package, should you choose to add that. And it's very economical, about $20 per person per day, and includes tips. You have your optional excursions, should you want to add those. And of course, buying something from the gift shop. So you can really budget well, knowing what you're going to spend when you purchase your cruise. And then if air with Viking, you never have to worry about transfers. All of that is included in your airfare with Viking. Now here's a quick tour of the ship. This is guest services. You'll come onto the ship through those glass doors on the left of your screen. And you've got a wonderful staff here who's always available to help. Turning around from here, you'll see the atrium. You'll notice clean, bright Scandinavian design, but attention to detail. Those handrails are covered with fine leather, and you'll just see that we have lots of light filled spaces, so you're able to really feel like you're sailing in your destination. Our dining room is wonderful. It's got great views, and of course you can change it up and sit with whomever you like, whenever you like, and change that every night if you choose to. Casual, relaxed attire, so you never have to feel like you're having to bring a separate suitcase of fussy dress up wear. And you can enjoy changing out and making new friends as you dine. This is the internet portion and the library. So the library is stocked with resources that are related to your sailing. And then behind the chairs in the front of this picture are 2 computers, so you never have to bring your computers if you choose not to. And then right down from the library is the Viking Lounge and Bar. And this is a very popular place where people come and sit and talk about their day. And turning from that is the lounge. And so you'll see the piano there, and the wood floor has some entertainment in the evening. This is also where your program director will talk about your scenic sailing and what you're passing in the history of the area that you're going through. It's a lovely place to relax and make new friends and learn about the ports of call that you'll be visiting. The Aquavit Lounge is right on the other side of this wonderful part of the ship called the Aquavit Terrace. You can see those rocking chairs. Imagine sitting here watching the sunrise or the stars at night, or on your scenic sailing, taking amazing photos and having a snack. It's a perfect place to spend the afternoon, an early morning, or even a late evening with a blanket and just enjoy the scenic sailing and the beautiful views. The sun deck gives you those 360-degree views. There's a walking track up there, as well as a putting green and an herb garden that the chefs use preparing your meals. So it's a lovely ship and lots of space to explore. We're going to go through the staterooms. This is the standard stateroom, 150 square feet. I'm about 5'7", and that fixed window comes about to my chin. So that'll give you an idea of where you can still see outside. But this is a very popular next category called the French balcony. It's got that full wall of windows. You can lean out, but not step out, get some fresh air, see what it's going to be like as you travel. And then the verandas are most popular, and it's got that extra chair in the room as well as the step out balcony. I love this category because I get up earlier and I like to go out there and read or have a cup of tea. The quiet sailing into port in the morning is just a delightful memory. And I think this is a well earned favorite that people love to book. Then we have our suites. The veranda suite is a true 2-bedroom suite. The door will close between the bedroom and the living room. We have the French balcony in the bedroom. We've got the step out balcony in the living room. And the living room also is stocked with alcohol. You've got some extras like Air Plus that come, certain extras that come with the suites make it a great space for extra room as well as extra amenities. And then this is our veranda suite bathroom, but all bathrooms on the ship have heated floors. And so and the amenities are large amenities. You never have to put your readers on to be able to see if you're putting conditioner or lotion on your hair in the shower. And they're all color coded as well. And so the bathrooms are great in every category. And then if you want to really enjoy the ultimate, the Explorer Suite Lounge is the category for you. This is 445 square feet. We've got a 270-degree wraparound balcony. The bedroom does close off as well, and you can see from this view how you just have panoramic views. There's 2 of these on the ship, and even the bathroom has 2A glass to make sure you don't miss anything as you're sailing. And that is our presentation. Our motto is great vacations matter because great memories matter the most. And we're here to help you make the most of your Viking vacation. Feel free to contact me. You can see my numbers at the bottom of the screen. And we are here to help give you the best advice, check on availability, tips and tricks to make your journey special and memorable, and basically help you enjoy the process of seeing the world. I look forward to helping you get a Viking vacation on your schedule, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.